In sociology, quantitative research refers to the systemic empirical investigation of social phenomena via statistical, mathematical, or numerical data, or computational techniques. The objective of quantitative research is to develop and employ mathematical models, theories, and/or hypotheses pertaining to phenomena. The process of measurement is central to quantitative research because it provides the fundamental connection between empirical observation and mathematical expression of quantitative relationships. Quantitative data is any data that is in numerical form, such as statistics, percentages, or etc. In layman's terms, this means that the quantitative research asks a specific, narrow question and collects a sample of numerical data from participants to answer the question. The researcher analyzes the data with the help of statistics. The researcher is hoping the numbers will yield an unbiased result that can be generalized to some larger population. Qualitative research, on the other hand, asks broad questions and collects word data from participants. The researcher looks for themes and describes the information in themes and patterns exclusive to that set of participants. More generally, quantitative research is widely used in social sciences such as psychology, economics, sociology, marketing, community health, health and human development, gender and political science, and less frequently in anthropology and history. Research in mathematical sciences such as physics is also quantitative by definition, though this use of the term differs in context. In the social sciences, the term relates to empirical methods originating in both philosophical positivism and the history of statistics, which contrasts with qualitative research methods. Qualitative methods produce information only on the particular cases studied, and any more general conclusions are only hypotheses. Quantitative methods can be used to verify which of such hypotheses are true. A questionnaire can be a useful tool for gathering information. It can be used for survey research, gathering data, or testing a hypothesis. For a questionnaire to be effective and give you the information you are looking for, you will need to design a survey that is easy to understand and easy to complete. Here are some tips to follow when you want to know how to develop a questionnaire for research. First, figure out what information you are trying to gather from the survey. What is your main objective in doing the questionnaire? What information do you need from the respondents in order to meet your objectives? Think of questions that will address your objectives and get answers to your questions. You should also make sure that your questions are not redundant or not specific to your topic. You should not include any questions that do not gather information that is directly useful in your research. Second, write an introduction for your questionnaire. This should explain a little bit about your questionnaire, why you're doing it, and what your goal is. The introduction should be kept brief, but also engage your target audience. Think about how long their attention span probably is, and try to coordinate the questionnaire based on that estimate. Third, use closed questions for questionnaires. A closed question is one that can be answered with a word or phrase. This makes it easy for the respondent to give the answer without having to think of an articulate way to word it. Closed questions also benefit you because it makes it easier to classify the group's answers together. 4. Order your questions in a way that is meaningful and easy to follow. Start with questions that are easy to understand and easy to answer. Opening with harder questions is off-putting and may scare your respondents off before they complete your entire survey. Each question helps encourage your participants to want to finish answering the rest of the questions. The rest of the questions should flow in some sort of order that sounds natural and does not skip around too much. Group light topics together rather than skipping around from topic to topic. Fifth, put the more important questions at the beginning of your questionnaire. Often participants can lose interest by the end, especially if the survey is rather lengthy. If there are any questions that are more important that you want your respondents to focus on, place them towards the beginning of your questionnaire. 6. Add a little variety to your questions. While closed questions are best for ease of answering and analyzing purposes, adding in a couple of open-ended questions helps keep respondents from becoming bored. Open-ended questions require respondents to write out their answers and include some level of detail. And lastly, decide what methods you will use to reach your target audience. If you are not seeking a particular audience, you can gather information using your questionnaire through interviews, focus groups, mailing your questionnaires, or telephone interviews. If your target audience is a specific group, you will want to use methods to reach those specific people. For example, if you're looking for information from college students, you should do your survey at local colleges. There are some advantages to doing questionnaires. They're practical. Large amounts of information can be collected from a large number of people in a short period of time in a relatively cost-effective way. It can be carried out by the researcher or by any number of people with limited effect to its validity and reliability. The results of the questionnaires can usually be quickly and easily quantified by either a researcher or through the use of a software package. They can be analyzed more scientifically and objectively than other forms of research. When data has been quantified, it can be used to compare and contrast other research and may be used to measure change. And lastly, positives believe that quantitative data can be used to create new theories and/or test existing hypotheses. Like with everything, there are also some disadvantages to doing questionnaires. First of all, it is argued to be inadequate to understand some forms of information, for example, change of emotions, behaviors, or feelings. Phenomenologists state that quantitative research is simply an artificial creation by the researcher, as it is asking only a limited amount of information without explanation. Third, it lacks validity. Fourth, there is no way to tell how truthful a respondent is being. There is no way of telling how much thought a respondent has put in. The respondent may be forgetful or not thinking within the full context of the situation, or people may read differently into each question and therefore reply based on their own interpretation of the question. For example, what is good to someone may be poor to someone else. Therefore, there is a level of subjectivity that is not acknowledged. There is a level of researcher imposition, meaning that when developing the questionnaire, the researcher is making their own decisions and assumptions as to what is and is not important. Therefore, they may be missing something that is of importance. There are various kinds of rating scales that have been developed for quantitative research data analysis. The most widely used is the Likert scale. Likert was developed in 1932 based on the principle of measuring attitudes by asking people to respond to a series of statements about a topic in terms of the extent to which they agree with them, and so tapping into the cognitive and affective components of attitudes. Likert type or frequency scales use fixed choice response formats and are designed to measure attitudes or opinions. These ordinal scales measure levels of agreement or disagreement. The Likert type scale assumes that the strength and/or intensity of experience is linear. For example, on a continuum from strongly agree to strongly disagree, and makes the assumption that attitudes can be measured. Respondents may be offered a choice of 5 to 7 or even 9 pre-coded responses, with the neutral point being either agree nor disagree. In its final form, the Likert scale is a 5 or 7-point scale, which is used to allow the individual to express how much they agree or disagree with a particular statement.